Francisco 49ers, this dilemma continues to percolate. And listen, trial day is tomorrow. The verdict will come out tomorrow. We will see where their intentions truly lie tomorrow. But Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, came out and made it pretty clear yesterday he wants Mac Jones. The problem is his scouting department and his general manager, they want now Trey Lance. And apparently, Kyle Shanahan might be willing to acquiesce to his scouting department's preferences. So what we know is that Mac Jones is a better pocket passer, right? That's what he's known for, being a pocket passer and being an accurate thrower of the football. He completed 77% of his passes last year at Alabama. Trey Lance is known for having a huge arm, great work ethic, intelligent, and tremendous upside. So different types of quarterbacks that they're looking at and that they're evaluating. So this is the great dilemma, because ultimately the final call lies with Kyle Shanahan. Yet the question is whether his department, his scouting department, and John Lynch will be able to induce him into selecting Trey Lance, because what they've said is that it's between that they've landed on a quarterback, and the two options are Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Those are the two picks. Here's the other thing that we know. There are more first-round busts than successes. In fact, 8 of the last 10 quarterbacks that have been selected in the top 10, or in the top 10, following a trade up from a team. 8 of the top 10 haven't been able to deliver for their squads. Those players include Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Mitchell Trubisky, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, RG3, Robert Griffin III, Blaine Gabbert, and Mark Sanchez. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are the only 2 quarterbacks to actually deliver as a top 10 overall pick after their team traded into the top 10 to select them. Here's the other thing that we know. In modern NFL history, a team has never traded into the top 5 to select a quarterback and have that quarterback be a starter for more than 6 years. Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers are the only 2 quarterbacks to have been selected either 2nd, 3rd, or 4th overall after a team traded into the top 5 to select them in over a century. Yes, you heard that correctly. In over a century, those are the only 2 quarterbacks that were selected either 2nd, 3rd, or 4th overall to have been a starter with the team that drafted them that jumped into the top 5 for over 6 years or more. The other 10 top 5 but not first overall picks at the quarterback position: Blake Bortles, Sam Darnold, RG3, Joey Harrington, Marcus Mariota, Mark Sanchez, Tua, Trubisky, Vince Young, and Carson Wentz. That's what history says. That's what history tells us. Now, I'm going to reveal my mock draft coming up in about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll reveal who I think the teams will ultimately take. But here's the problem. The problem is Kyle Shanahan believes that it is his system that leads to all the success in San Francisco. Meanwhile, his front office, they believe it's the personnel that lead to the successful system, that make the system a success. And if you're Kyle Shanahan, yes, you have the final call, but the reality is you were 6-10 last year. So your system clearly didn't work. Now, obviously, they were plagued by injuries. No, Nick Bosa tore his ACL. He was gone. Fred Warner was gone for a little bit. Jimmy G, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel missed extended periods of times. Richard Sherman was placed on the IR as well. So there's no question they were dealing with, and he was dealing with, a depleted roster. But what it highlights is that you can't just throw Nate Sudfeld or CJ Beathard, and that's going to result in a winning team. Because as a head coach, Kyle Shanahan is 31-36 in his career with the San Francisco 49ers as a head coach. Now, I think he's a brilliant, innovative, young head coach that is extremely talented, and he's already reached a Super Bowl, but that Super Bowl was reached with Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm. Jimmy G, when he had a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo, that was the only time that he ever reached the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, without Jimmy G and without a competent quarterback, he hasn't made the postseason. That's the reality. That's the empirical evidence. So if the choice is legitimately between Trey Lance or Mac Jones, if it was me, I'm going with Trey Lance. If that is truly the choice, if that's option A and B, I'm going with Trey Lance. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo, yes, the injury concern is legitimate, but I think that Jimmy G is better than Mac Jones. I think him at his peak is still better than Mac Jones, whatever that ceiling is. And Trey Lance has got a tremendous upside and can sit out a year behind Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's what I would say. I think that, again, this notion of kind of quote unquote falling back to Jimmy Garoppolo has kind of been overblown. And the big key is, in my opinion, you can't draft a player as a backup under the assumption that your starter will get injured. You have to draft a player with the intention of them being a starter, and how will their skill sets fit within your system? Because if you draft a player with the other approach, then you're asking for failure, and you'll likely lead to failure as well.